we English teachers have been asked to revise and revamp the whole curriculum, and we are in the process of doing it to meet the prerequisites and the requirements of the postgraduate students or the undergraduate BA honors students, which is not purely research oriented, which is practical, very pragmatic. The pedagogy itself is changed and reformed to meet the requirements of the younger, the newer generation of students. So as we used to teach literature in a very pristine, romantic manner, we cannot teach or glorify Shakespeare, Milton, Keats, R.K. Narayan, Mulkraj Anand, Kalidas, or anybody for that matter. We cannot continue to teach them in the same manner. We require to apply a lot of new theories that evolved in the last 2 decades of the earlier century and the 2 decades that followed. So we need to apply all these theories, and we need to make literary study and language study a very, very multidisciplinary one. As we all know, the very origin of English literature, the institutionalization of English literature was not in the academia. All of us would agree with me, because the very first time historically English literature was institutionalized, it was not in a school or college or university system. It was in the evening lecturing circuits in the factories, meant only for factory workers. So this is how every discipline, every subject should yield the desired results. What if a student with MA English literature with M.Ed degree could not find an employability, could not find an employment, is not employable, then what is the use of such degrees? This kind of a thing is the question of the hour, that we need to make everything, and you all agree with me that literature has moved out of its ambit of pure literature. It has become medical humanities, it has become disability studies, it has become climate studies, it has become trauma studies, and a lot of post-colonial studies, subaltern studies. So as we have been witnessing all these transformations and very drastic changes in the field of literature and literary studies, I think that the course and its content would help you accommodate yourself to this specific framework of NEP 2020, and the whole framework or the curriculum of BA Honours English Literature or English Literary Studies will also be a kind of multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary study. Not just that, all English teachers all over India need to be the caterers to a lot of students across the campus. As far as our department is concerned, we need to cater to the academic requirements, the language requirements of the whole campus, which simply means we English teachers need to cater to the demands of 56 departments across the campus. So there will be more requirement of English teachers in every institution, and because till now we have been teaching and we are in touch only with our own students, and it is not going to be the same anymore. We need to be familiar with physics students, we need to be familiar with students belonging to the social sciences, and a lot more. So all 56 department students will be known only to one specific group of teachers, that the English teachers. So I believe and I hope that we English teachers will and should understand the importance of English teaching and literary teaching, or teaching literature, enjoying literature, comprehensively understanding literature, interpreting literature with all kinds of theories. It is high time that we should equip ourselves to be better teachers, very scholarly teachers, resourceful teachers, to equip our students so that our students will get some kind of employability, some kind of employment in any kind of industry or any kind of academic space. So with this objective that the refresher course in English has been designed, and we have fixed a very good team of resource persons who are handpicked very meticulously to to share their resources with you all. So you can feel free to interact with them at the last part of the lecture, and they all will be very, very resourceful, and they'll be helpful in making you understand how to be English teachers of the new millennium with the implementation of the NEP 2020. So with this sharing of the theme, once again I welcome all of you, both participants of the FIP and participants of the refresher course in English to our Pondicherry University. Please have a very, very pleasant stay in our campus, and at the same time be responsible and be on time to the courses. The HRDC will extend its services to all of you in a very, very careful, meticulous manner. So wish you all a very pleasant stay. I wish you all a very, very meaningful academic experience here in our campus. Thank you so much. Once again, I thank Professor Panch Ramalingam, Director HRDC, for having given me this opportunity to explain the theme of the refresher course. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir, for enlightening them about the scope and objectives of the program. Now this is the time to listen to our esteemed Dean, School of Humanities. He is a versatile scholar in English. Above all, he is the portrait artist by Byrne. He is, thousands of portraits he has, exhibited, not only for the nationwide, it is in the international wide. We are having the freedom of enjoying his felicitation now. Thank you very much.
Professor Vijay Kumar, former Vice Chancellor of National Law Institute, University. Dr. T. Marks, Professor and Head of the Department of English, Pondicherry University. Professor Panch Ramalingam, Director, and Dr. Srujana. Yeah, very good morning to you all. And I welcome the participants on both sides, because I don't want to say that only this side is mine and this side a little bit alien to me. And I thank Professor Panch Ramalingam for introducing me as an artist. I didn't bring any of my portraits here to show it to you, but you are most welcome when you visit our school, which is not quite far away, it is nearby. So, I don't want to take much of your time, because about the scope of this refresher program, this has been already highlighted by my good friend T. Marks, who always used to take these type of programs very seriously and meticulously. He has prepared a team of experts, very scholarly experts they are all, and they will be talking to you, and you can interact with them, and thereby you will get lot of benefits. But when I asked Professor Panch Ramalingam what I need to say, so he asked me to say something in general about this particular program refresher course. And one important thing that you must learn, some of you may be under the impression, why this refresher course at all? In what way the people who are coming here are better than us? And why should be treated always again and again some scholars visiting and then talking about the subjects we already know? We can very easily categorize the participant into two groups. The first group, always very enthusiastic, always want to help the director who run this program, and they will be helpful for the coordinator, and they will mingle with others very easily. And this is one group. The other group, they may not be so very much interested in this, but since the system says that they should get a certificate, at the end, they think that it is their goal and it is more important than anything else. These are the people I always used to call, consider this refresher program as a kind of an endurance test. For them, this is not a refresher course, but an endurance test. So how long we can listen to the resource person and how long we can go for 40 naps. That is one way of sleep, That is wrong, because I can tell you that this refresher course, usually this sharpens your long-term memory. We teachers tend to forget so many things in our teaching profession. After some time, we may not be knowing much because you have been asked to teach something which you may not be interested, or you may be teaching something which has not in a way affected you. That is the word that I can go for. Therefore, the subject that you are interested in, you must have ignored it quite long back. And these type of programs will sharpen your intellect. If someone comes, say for example, if you are interested in one particular theory, if that particular theorist who is an expert in this field, if he comes and talks to you, then you can enjoy it all the more. And what are the things that you have been lost in these days, you will be able to recollect, you will be able to recover in that 1 or 2 hours of his lecture. And for that, this program will be useful, because we say what actually we are reading or we are listening to in the course of 1 month, we will forget it in a few days. And what are the things that we have gained for nearly 1 year, 80% of them you will forget at the end of the year. And sir knows psychology, our director, that if you can ask him, he will tell that our memory is very short. And therefore, it has to be sharpened regularly. And this program will certainly help you. Another thing is, the mistakes that we are committing, the errors that we are committing in our course of teaching, without knowing that we are committing errors and without knowing that we are indulging in certain things, which should be, improved. And you go on teaching it. And this is the time to sit and think about it. Because a refresher course, an expert would come and talk about these things. Then only you will be knowing where you are. And moreover, you will get a model out of it, because English is a very tricky language, Sometimes you may think that what you are teaching is the right thing, but it may not be so. Several updates are being done every day, and every minute you have some kind of betterment in that particular field, which you might have ignored. And this is the time to think about it. Because there is a joke that how tricky the English language is. 2 boys are going near a stream, and there is a cautionary board. The first sentence, crocodiles. The second sentence, do not swim here. Do not swim here. The first boy takes it in the right manner, and he bolts away immediately. It's a good thing that they have put a cautionary board here so that I can make my escape. But the second boy is very happy and jumps into that stream in spite of this cautionary board. And when the other boy asked him, hey, what are you doing? The boy simply said, oh, the cautionary board says, crocodiles do not swim here. So it is the safest place for me to swim. Just reading it, the way you read a particular sentence, that makes a difference. Therefore, this program will help you. So where you go wrong and what you have been thinking till now is a thing that you should change. For that, this program will be useful. The third one, this is the one that I always used to insist. This is one way of bringing all of you together. But unfortunately, when I ask some people, some of my colleagues, not in the department, but in the outside of the department, in other discipline also, so and so I met. It seems that she has attended the refresher course with you. Is it so? Maybe. So, for nearly 1 month you are here. But how come that you are not having any kind of acquaintance with one another? Don't you think that it is wrong? We develop friendship when we travel, maybe half an hour or so. But we pick up a lot of friends while we are traveling. May not be for days, but just for a few minutes. We can pick up friendship. But this way of bringing all of you together is to have some kind of, friendship with one another, so that you will be learning a lot. What happens in that particular college you may not be knowing. And this is the time to interact, and this is the time to realize that all of you are friends, and in what way that you can be mutually helpful to one another. That is very, very important. And don't simply cut off from the mainstream, and don't isolate yourself. If you want to learn something, better to be in the company. Try to understand each other, their familial background and everything. And this is only a starting point. And this will lead you to a more beneficial academic life in the future that you should not forget. So, the next one is the theory. And Marx several times insisted that all the theories belonging to various groups, they will be coming over here, because first time that he has done it, and even again and again that it has been revised. In fact, I was quite satisfied with that list, but he is not satisfied. Again he came out with another list with better, team members, and he thought that these people would be more useful, and even the timing of the program also changed accordingly. With all sorts of hardships only, we are doing it, and therefore you have to make full use of this program. Don't have this notion that we are teaching something different to you and we are seniors and you are at a disadvantageous point. You are at the receiving end and we are the masters. No, we are only colleagues. I have to learn a lot from you and you have to learn a lot from me. In that way only you should approach this refresher course. Otherwise it will become, as I already told you, an endurance test for you. And there is a saying that those who cannot obey cannot command. So you must learn to obey, then only you can start commanding. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir, for enlightening them various aspects with the common sense so that they can acquainted very well with you. And well, friends, this is the time to listen to our esteemed guest of honor, Professor V. Vijay Kumar. He is the not only in the law education, but also he was in the various committees at the national level. He is the right person to bless us for these two programs with his inaugural address. May I request you, sir, to deliver the inaugural address.
Professor Panch Ramalingam, the Director in charge of UGC-HRDC of this university. Professor Clement Lutz, Dean School of Humanities of this university. Professor T. Marks, Professor and Head of the Department of English of this university. Dr. K. Srujana, Assistant Professor associated with this HRDC. My dear learned colleagues from various institutions, various disciplines on this side, English on the other side. A very good morning to everyone present here. In fact, I was told that there will be only teachers in English. So I prepared some note based on English. That's why you must have seen. While sitting, I was also jotting down certain things, so that I don't want to look like speaking or addressing only to the English teachers, but also to the other team of teachers present here. You are going to be here for two different periods, 14 days for one group and almost 30 days for the other group. And I think the Dean very clearly said the very purpose of this, whether you elevate yourself academically or otherwise, but it is very, very necessary to establish some sort of networking, right, with teachers in the same discipline or teachers across the discipline, right? And I think that is the real purpose of such programs, and don't miss that. I think Dean was very clear in saying that. And as I would like to begin, I am reminded of sitting like you in one of the programs organized by the Annamalai University way back in 1982. Very interesting. I was taking my final year law degree examination, and I had applied for class 1 education service. Applied for that, I thought I'll just narrate this to you. I never had 55% in my master's degree, right? There was no net. There was an advertisement, I applied, and there was an interview at the Director of Collegiate Education's office. And I didn't prepare anything. I was not serious to become a teacher. So morning I completed the exam. Luckily the schedule was in the afternoon at 3 o'clock. So we all planned to go for movies. So half a dozen of us, when I told them that I have to go for the interview, they were cursing me, but still they all came along with me to the Director of Collegiate Education. Patiently waited till I completed my interview. I was very casual. I never had this nervous feeling, that because I never wanted to be, right? And when I entered, I found my own teacher as a subject expert. So 100% I was comfortable thereafter. And that was the time the 42nd Amendment to Act was passed by the Parliament, and he taught us at the master's degree level at the Presidency College. So I knew very clearly that he will not move away from the 42nd Amendment Act. And like a machine gun, he asked a few questions, and quick the answers I gave. Around 10 to 12 questions, he said, you can go, that's it. So I was selected, I was happy to be selected, and then there was no training, right? And the first day, the head of the department gave me the timetable, go to master's degree program, MA in political science, another class, MA in public administration. Just imagine, I was only 24, and some of the students were 24 plus, right? And a co-educational institution in Presidency College, and I had the credit of not being transferred out of Presidency College for almost 10 years. Right? That's the way that what made me take commitment to teaching and continue to remain in teaching is something which I need to tell you. So when I was sitting like you in a 1 month long refresher program on a focused theme called research methodology, right? And research methodology was a course at master's degree level, I think every master's degree. And those teachers who come to teach research methodology for the master's degree, I hope all of them are like what I had earlier. Anyhow, it is of no use for you. If you want to do PhD, then it may be relevant. They will teach you properly, don't worry. And when you join PhD, and the teachers would say, you have already passed your research methodology. Therefore, there is nothing that is required. And therefore, you are finished. So neither there is research nor there is any methodology. There is only madness in the methodology. So you can write anything you want. You can publish anything you want. And let me be very frank. Those 30 days in Annamalai University transformed what you call it as a teacher who never wanted to become a teacher, and a person who would like to learn more, right? And also look at the certain techniques of teaching, research and publication. And that gave me the platform to publish my first article in one of the journals in Annamalai University. Right? And that changed my attitude, my commitment. And then there was no looking back. And I had to go out of Presidency College when the National Law School was established in 1988. They all said that, why are you going there, leaving a pensionable job? Right, so there were long-term objectives that pension is very important. But even before the pension was removed from the policies of the government and the new pension policy was introduced in 2005, I decided to look for something better. You know, being a teacher in the government college, right, Presidency College, there was absolutely no challenge for teaching. And when I started liking the job, I don't want to call this as a job because that's one among the theme I wanted to project it to you. When I started liking, I found that the receiving end was not willing to. I want to do more, but the receptors are not at all willing. It was diminishing utility, or if I have to use the economic term, diminishing marginal utility. Whatever little they had, that also gone out. So therefore, I felt that I wanted to now be a good teacher, but the platform is not willing to accept it. And therefore, I was looking out for a good opportunity. And when the National Law School was established in Bangalore, I went there. As against the unanimous opinion of the entire department that I should not leave a pensionable job. And some of them, my colleagues, still they get the pension. I don't have the pension. For the 10 years I worked in Presidency College, I get somewhere around 50,000 rupees as pension. Right? That's apart. But when the quality of teaching that we established in the law school took me to different places, right? So what started as no interest in teaching, with all the efforts, I tried out of the box methods. In Madras there is United States Information Service, which is also attached to the embassy. I used to take the master's degree students to show them certain video clippings developed by the American Political Science Association on how the proceedings are done in the Supreme Court of the United States of America. And for the public administration students, the labor movement, there were some number of documents which were available, and every year I used to take them. And then, this is only to motivate this side of the teachers, where you can and what you can. And I never bothered that, after my master's degree, I went to USIS, like every child. I also wanted to go to US, pursue my higher studies. I went, they gave me, in those days, 2 rupees application form. And then they said whether your medium of instruction is English, whether you can do this, you have to do that. And after doing all these things, what is the quality of education there, we don't know. And when I went round and finally I returned that application and came out. I don't want to go to the US at all. Right? So within 2 hours, everything was over. But I continued to do this work. In 1988, January, the director of USIS called me for a sort of interaction. He didn't tell me the purpose. I just went, and just believe me, every year when I took the students to the USIS to show their documentaries at their expense, they were noting it down without fail. And he was having the entire record. My service record also is not that good. Right? And he was explaining, and I couldn't believe that, you brought so many students, this, that, everything. You took so many literatures, distributed to the students, invited our experts to your college, so on and so forth. And I was little amazed, why is he telling all these things? And finally, he let the cat out of the bag and said, we are going to nominate you to go to the US under the International Visitors Program, where a number of politicians, Karunanidhi and others have gone. And we are going to sponsor you because we are celebrating 200th anniversary of the Constitution. and you are also teaching constitutional law, and you are the right person to go. And there was one more person selected from West Bengal, only 2 of us from India. So the opportunity opened up. The entire expenditure, I never stood in the queue for the visa, they endorsed everything. And during our stay in the US, they also gave us honorary citizenship. You may be wondering why I am saying all these things. I am saying all these things because I did something which the other teachers did not do. There were around 24 teachers in both political science and public administration department, and none of them wanted to do anything, right? I did something differently, that's all. When I taken the students, they also enjoyed it, right? Going out of and then showing something, telling them well in advance what they can do, because the American accent is different, right? And then telling them, coming back, and what did you observe, what is it different? So there was something, there was a bridging between the teacher and the taught, right? That made my life a lot more easier. And I also, to motivate the young teachers again, I was into sports. I used to play 3 to 4 hours, and even as a teacher I used to go and play football with the students. And you know, when they play football, these are all the troublemakers by and large who play football, hockey, right? Not the gentleman game of tennis and cricket. So I knew the student body very well, and if there was a strike in Presidency College, and they used to carry the blades, knives, and they destroy all the two-wheelers, right? And only my vehicle you can see intact. Right? Confidently I can walk in. Confidently I can walk in and see my vehicle will be intact. Because I've been with them, I knew, and therefore I was slowly but steadily molded into a committed teacher when I never wanted to be a teacher. Right? So the 10 years and possibly the 7 years, first 3 years was okay, till I attended the research methodology program. I also ran the program. I also went to the class, taught, everything I did. But the transformation took place, and I should give full credit to the research methodology program, where teachers from all over the country, colleagues from all over the country came. And even today, we continue to interact. 82, there was no internet, there was no mobile phone, there was no WhatsApp, right? It was communication, meeting here and there. We continue. Pondicherry, who is still a minister, was also one such participant. 2-3 vice chancellors from that group, registrars from that group, controller of examinations. We all continue to interact even today, and that is what I call it as networking. And that gave us an opportunity to blossom into what you call it as active teaching, active, meaningful teaching, and reducing the gap between the teachers and the taught. Now, 40 years down the line, I see the gap is increasing, not diminishing. It is not you who really mattered. Even if you are the best teacher, today it is a huge challenge in any classroom to keep the attention of the students focused even for 50 to 55 minutes, right? And that is why we all venture into something, taking the attendance, right? You pronounce the name Panch Ramalingam. I know Panch Ramalingam will be sitting in this side, but I start scanning from the other side. Oh, you are here. Right? 60, 70 students. By the time I complete my attendance, 20 minutes are gone. Again, re-attendance, the last 10 minutes. Right? So, we are in a position today to while away our time rather than doing the work. And when I went to National Law School, the culture was entirely different. 8:50 the class begins. 8:49 the Vice Chancellor and the senior teachers will go around. If the teacher is not found waiting for the students inside the classroom, he will just look at us, one of us will get into the classroom. punctuality, right? If you start going to the classroom 2 minutes late, the students will come 5 minutes late. If you start going to the class 5 minutes late, they will come 15 minutes late. So we are responsible squarely for maintaining that physical discipline, that you are also there and they are also there. Second thing is making them, compelling them to read something before they come to the classroom, right? The reading material that we used to prepare and give. Amazing students we had, amazing students. They will rip anybody, right? The Chief Justice of India will come, they cannot face the students for 2 hours. We always had 2 hours consecutive classes. Justice Krishna here, whose language is rather brutish, not British but brutish. And even his own judgment, the students used to analyze, tell him that this is totally wrong as against what is written down in the Constitution. And that is the way that we motivated the students, we got involved, we allowed anyone to question. I think that is what we have to keep in mind. Today the teachers have no patience. If somebody raises a question, sit down. Irrelevant, nonsense. Next time I'll see you. Because your internal assessment mark is in my pocket. Right? Now these tendencies continue to distance the gap between the teacher and the taught. Please keep these things which I have learned. It is not that I'm out of the book I'm telling, this is what I have seen literally. Right? And today you are addressing the millennial kids, whether undergraduate or postgraduate, is very, very difficult. American Psychological Association has conducted a survey, and there they have the, religion has a role to play. Christianity, right? Possibly they tell them to speak the truth. 90% of them tell the truth, 10% possibly may violate it. But in a country like ours, 99% we speak the falsehood. If somebody is speaking the truth, we penalize them. Right? We punish them. Those students and the teachers came out with a phenomenal information that the concentration of the students in the schools and in colleges is not more than 15 minutes. It's not more than 15 minutes. So therefore, if it is only 15 minutes we lose in the attendance, re-attendance, right? And scolding the students here and there, blaming the institution for infrastructure and other violations, right? நம்ம வீட்டில் எவ்வளோ தகராறு பண்ணியிருக்கோம் அதெல்லாம் விட்டு ஸ்கூலில் வந்து எல்லாத்தையும் திட்டிட வேண்டியது. I'm sorry, I'm speaking in Tamil, right? And English teachers should excuse me for that. So therefore, whatever we have at home, we should not carry it to the classroom, right? I think that is the first thing, I have learned something from my teachers. When his mother was admitted in the hospital, he was addressing the students. A chit was sent to him that his mother passed away. She prolonged illness, so she passed away. The teacher continued to address the class. After the class was over, he broke down in the class. Tears were coming out of his eyes. The students went and asked. And then they saw the chit. Half an hour ago the chit came. Mother passed away. And here is a teacher who stood before us and continued to teach. Right? The students were entirely different thereafter. Entirely different in their behavior. So there is something which we can contribute to the bridging. And how are you going to address these millennial kids when they are all glued to their mobile phones? Right? We have now arranged all the desks and other things so beautifully well. They keep their backpack and play with their mobile phone. Nothing will get into it because Google Baba knows everything than the teacher. And that is why higher education, they say, it is translating the information, an attempt to translate the information available in the books from the teacher to the taught without getting into the brains of either. Without getting into the mind of either. Nobody, either the teacher understands nor the students understand, and therefore it goes. And today, with 15 to 20 minutes focused attention, it is very, very difficult to address any class. That's what I have seen, whether it is professional institution like law or any other college. I have seen both, and today it is even more difficult. Why? Technology is an enabler, and technology is also a spoiler, right? And I don't carry the mobile phone to my class, but when I went to different universities, I see every teacher carrying the mobile phone into the class, and when the bell rings, he also or she also takes it and walks away. If we are also doing this, you can't blame the students, right? Discipline on our part is number one, and then automatically they will also, because teachers are the role models. Teachers are whether you do good or bad, the students will also emulate you. So in this sense, there was only a role model for me to teach in the first 3 years, and then slowly I got equipped through this research methodology class, and slowly but steadily I started doing some research, started publishing. Today I have more than 50 articles to my credit, both in international and national journals. And what I started with the welcome trip to US, totally free of cost. They had given so much of money. I stayed 1 more month extra to go around to see different places, right? And that was the beginning. And I have traveled to more than 40 countries, not at my expense at all, right? These are all ways and means through which, if you are able to show your commitment, there are people who are observing you. There are people, when you publish something, publication is not for your own classroom, right? Publication go across the world, and people start reading your publication. They start writing to you, can you come and deliver a series of lectures, right? And then what it begins, and the networking also starts having its influence, and there is no looking back, right? And though formally I retired from 2 different institutions, right? I keep on going because I don't want to keep quiet. So this is how I began as a teacher, and I just wanted to tell you that if the focus of the student body is only 20%, how are you going to overcome that? And you have to play something different. Something different is you must be mastering the ICT to such an extent, right? And one of my colleagues, Dr. Ranbir Singh, who established 2 different law schools in the country, has classified more than 48 different types of teachers. One among them is pen drive teachers, right? So everything PowerPoint, I don't know who has prepared that PowerPoint also, possibly he or she has not prepared, but they have the pen drive. Wherever they go, because under the new education policy, every classroom is supposed to be ICT enabled, right? Everyone will have, earlier you have to ask, do you have this, projector, right? What type of projector is it? We started off from that transparency over a projector, right? Now you insert the pen drive, choose that presentation and start reading it. If the power goes, the point also goes. Right? We have left the practice of using our mind, our abilities, our capabilities. We are looking at what is there. If that conks, and that's the end of it. What is there in the next slide, we forget, because out of shock. The power has gone, now I am not able to. And therefore we also start printing those PowerPoints. If power goes, still I have the paper to rely upon. Right? These are all tricks of the trade, but you don't have the commitment to the trade. Right? Therefore, my request to all of you youngsters and also the English teachers, there are gaming platforms available. Right? And what the gaming platforms are, I would request the director of HRDC also to look for that. Best I liked is kahoot.org. You can also, when you log in, it will allow you to do something. right? It's a beautiful gaming platform. And Kahoot, KAHOOT.org. And I was asked to go to a class consisting of about 80 students. And the teacher was on leave, and I was also teaching the same subject. And the teacher told me, sir, this is a very boisterous class. They don't listen to. And 1 week he was off, so I had 14 hours of lecture I had to prepare. And when I entered, the classroom was big enough. The first 4 benches used to be vacant. Everyone would like to occupy the last, so that, you are away from the teacher, the teacher cannot see you, what you are doing, so on and so forth. Wherever I go, I just tell them the rules of the game. This is what I can do and this is what I expect. I explain to them, and I'm going to have these 14 hours of classes based on technology. Second day, to my surprise, all the students were in the first row. The last rows were vacant. What did I do? I used this Kahoot. What I taught yesterday, today let us have a game. The entire class will participate. And then it was such a hilarious moment that whenever the answer is given, that platform gives you what is the right answer, right? How many students have marked it as right? How many marked wrong answer 1, 2 and 3? And then even among the right answers, who gave the answer first? Because I gave 30 seconds gap. You have to read the entire question. Within 30 seconds, you have to respond. The first to response out of 1000 points may get around 900 points. After a fraction of a second, you also give the right answer, you may get 850 points. It is reducing, progressively. And then at the end of the 30th second, you give the right answer, you may get 550 points or 400 points. I also gave the right answer, but you gave the answer late. You gave the answer because you saw your neighbor and you pressed C and you also pressed C. That is why you got, your answer is a little late. So it was such a hilarious, moment. Now, please try to understand. I was able to deliver the goods. The focus of the students expanded from nowhere to 40-45 minutes. First 10 minutes of this gaming, and then they were eagerly looking forward to the gaming for the remaining 6 days or 5 days. And then when the course evaluation was given, and the boisterous class gave me a certificate saying this is the way that one has to teach, right? So if at all you have to win over the millennial kids, you must be millennial teachers, right? And that is the way, because now everyone has a mobile phone and state-of-the-art mobile phone. And earlier I used to carry 2 mobile phones, 4 SIM cards. Right, today everything is without SIM card, I have a mobile phone. So things are changing, technology is changing, and if you are not willing to learn anything, I think the gap will be widening, it is not going to reduce, and that is with you and with you alone. The institution may give you something, institution may not give you anything. As Vice Chancellor in 2 different institutions, as registrar, I never took the phone from the universities, right? I have not charged the phone bills on the university, not even a single day, right? Because it's my personal instrument, why should I charge it to the university? And there are people who observe you, who watch you, because you may think that you are, not being observed. But I think these are all the issues which will keep you focused and take you slowly but steadily. 10 years I did not get any chance, but when I got it, it was, the floodgates were open. I was selected in National Law School. Till today, I don't have any godfather. Let me tell you, I don't have any godfather. And that gives me confidence. And then I started liking this, teaching. And therefore, teaching, when I joined, it was a job. Now, teaching is a commitment. Teaching is a commitment. If you ask my wife, thanks to her, she cribs certain times because I get even Saturdays, Sundays, public holidays, and that is how we built the National Law School in no time. 10 years it is known all over the world, right? And that sweating of not simply looking at classroom teaching. Everything we did except sweeping and swiping the rooms. We did everything possible, even arranging the chairs for the convocation. And I think the rewards came little later. And that is how it used to be. So I would like to motivate those teachers who are joining afresh. And jovially, I was talking to the former chairperson of UGC, Dr. D.P. Singh. And we were discussing about NET, National Eligibility Test, this, that, everything. And I used to share lots of, notes with him, exchange notes with him. And I told him, sir, what does NET stand for? You have been talking about NET. He said, the National Eligibility Test. As a Vice Chancellor, don't you know about it? I said, I very well know about it. But for you, sitting as the chairman of UGC, National Eligibility Test, as a Vice Chancellor, for me, it is not eligible to teach. Right? The abbreviation is the same, not eligible to teach, because we see teachers with NET qualification not able to say a single word, single sentence in the classroom. Right? And without a NET qualification, there are brilliant people who are coming in. But our hands are tied, we cannot take them. Right? Too many regulations. So these are all challenges that you will be facing in the years to come, particularly when NEP comes into picture. Now, speaking a few minutes about English and possibly speaking something generally about, so far I spoke generally, I'll speak something about English a little for about 5-10 minutes, and then I'll come to the general presentation a little later. English was the link language during the freedom struggle, right? It united people from north, south, east, west, everywhere they came together because they were able to communicate basically in English. Good, bad or ugly, but that was the link language. And then when Lord William Bentinck, the first Governor General, enacted, for the information of the English teachers, the English Education Act. How many of you know about it? I don't know. So everywhere law is interconnected. Right? Law is not an independent professional course, it is interconnected. Whether it's social science, humanities, linguistics, right? Even medicine and technology. Today cyber law is one among the most popular courses. So he enacted the English Education Act way back in 1835. Under which English was made the medium of instruction and replaced Persian language thoroughly. 1835 is the beginning. As the language of higher courts. Higher courts means the high courts, the Supreme Court in those days, the high courts. Now, subsequently, in the 216th report of the Law Commission of India, submitted in 2008, now everyone started teaching the courses in vernacular language. I am also a product of Tamil medium, political science BA. Right? There was no teacher to teach in Tamil, but the name was given as Tamil medium, except one or two teachers who spoke in Tamil. Rest of it was only in English. Right? So, in that sense, the 216th report of the Law Commission, when we started teaching in vernacular language, as a Vice Chancellor in Ambedkar Law University, we had to find a place for, we have an intake of around 10,000 students in all these 16 colleges and the university. And they will clear all the courses, 56 courses, but they fail in 2 courses. 95% of them fail in 2 courses. What are those 2 courses? English 1 and English 2. Because everything is taught in Tamil, and if you write the answers in Tamil, you are sure to pass. And the students used to write even the question paper in Tamil, question mark, the number will be put number 1, they reproduce all the 10 questions. Question number 3, they reproduce the question paper and they get 60 marks. Right? I started the central evaluation. I have to tell, this is sharing of experiences. At the Pachepas College, they started the first time the central evaluation scheme. So I found it difficult to correct 15 papers in the morning session. I went religiously at 10 o'clock. At 1 o'clock, 3 hours I sat and I couldn't correct 15 papers. Another colleague of mine from same Presidency College teaching English, right? He had corrected 115 scripts in the morning. Because every script you get some money. And there was another brilliant fellow from Madras Christian College who can speak Tamil but he cannot read and write English, Tamil. Some Tamil scripts also came in between, he created evaluated. So at the fag end, I was able to correct around 36 scripts in a day, and that was the first mistake I committed. And in the evening, I wrote a letter to the controller of examination to relieve me from this arduous work, because this speed I cannot pick up, nor I'm willing to, right? So therefore, we have created a sort of picture. More than 1,20,000 scripts in English paper 1 and 2 alone will come to Ambedkar Law University. All the law colleges put together used 15, 16 teachers, and they will not correct this 1,20,000 scripts. Now because everything is streamlined, we will give you only 30 papers in the morning if it is UG, if it is PG only 20 papers in the morning. And the teachers are too smart, they will come at 11:55, 12:30 they will finish 30 and go off. Have lunch, come back at 2, 2:30 they will sign off. It's over. Even then, we were finding it difficult to evaluate these English scripts, and that speaks volumes. That speaks volumes. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, we all have the certificates, BA, MA, MPhil, PhD. Except in my MPhil, I belong to Border Security Force. If 40% is minimum passing, I get 41. Right? And in the entire university, there was not a first class. There was not even a single first class, because that was the way in which they were treating. Today, I think, give me any exception. If you have, please let me know. I would like to be educated on this. Ever since they prescribed 55% is minimum to become a teacher, to take the NET examination, we all become Karunanidhis, right? Don't 55 you have to necessarily give, everyone gets 55. Minimum 55 and maximum 80, 90, there is no limit, right? And I'll tell you the quality of those border security fellows. Those are all, many of them are IAS officers, IPS officers, teachers, so on and so forth. Today with, I was in the UPSC to recruit few public prosecutors. I found 4 students from Madras University, my own department of law, where I did my master's and PhD. At the back of my mind, the bias, right? I should help them, right? And I saw their mark, all of them got 75, 80, it's very brilliant. I got only 54. These guys got 70 and 75. And to my surprise and agony, they didn't answer anything. And though I wanted to select one of them at least, all the 4 if possible. And ultimately we didn't select anyone, including these 4. That speaks volume, because we are all liberal in marking. I'm not saying that you should fail everyone. So therefore, what is the best? We have a scheme in which the model answer is to be submitted along with the question paper, right? So we are trying to find ways and means through which we can minimize these atrocities. And therefore, when the model answer is given, even when the paper goes for re-evaluation, we send a key along with that. And in spite of that, if there are some teachers committing blunders, we blacklist them. For next 5 years, you are not going to be given this chance. So therefore, this is the way that we also learn lesson and move forward. Now this law commission, when it recommended that higher judiciary should not be subjected to any kind of even persuasive change in the present societal context. There was a movement that everything is being taught in Tamil. Why not we also make our presentation in the court in Tamil, and why not the judges also write the judgment in Tamil. There was a judge in the Madras High Court who went on to become the Chief Justice in 2 different High Courts and went to the Supreme Court and retired recently. And I would request Panch Ramalingam to bring him sometimes. He stays in Madras only. Justice Ramasubramaniam. Next to Justice Mohan, who was also my super senior in Presidency College Madras and Law College Madras. These guys can speak pure literary Tamil and equally excellent brutish English, right? And when 40-50 lawyers went to him with this Tamil, there is a secretariat, promotion of Tamil. With the director, they went to meet him. Why don't you allow them to argue the cases in Tamil? So Justice Ram Subramaniam told them, okay, fine. Any one of you can speak without using a single word in English for 10 minutes, we will allow it. Writ petition, writ is English, sit down. Petition is English, sit down. Number. Now you try to do something, you try to translate everything. I did not know computer is translated as Kanini. Now I have to undergo another course to understand what it is. So therefore, the best way is not the way that you teach, the communication that we do, whatever we do. I think if you are committed to this, I think it is possible for us to reduce the gap. And the Constitution very clearly provides for English teachers that all these high courts and the Supreme Court, the language shall be only English. Only English. And if the governor, if the president, if you take the permission from the president, you may allow some of the arguments to be taken in the regional language. Neither the president approved it nor anyone moved it. And because the judges also come from different states. Right? Maybe technology has a solution today. Right? Google Translator is there as I speak in, that is what you see in UN, that's what you see in the parliament. When people start addressing you in English, it gives you the translation in whatever language you want. Though they call it as simultaneous, it comes a little later, but I think it's fine to listen to them. Now, I was a beneficiary of bridge course in English when I was a student in the 8th class. I don't know how many of you were the beneficiaries. The British Council used to organize every week 2 hours after the classes are over, and somebody is sent from British Council will come and teach. I was studying in Board High School, Hosur, right? And then every Wednesday between 2 and 4 is the bridge course. And I used to attend the course not because of anything else, but they used to give some milk and biscuits at the back end of that. But let me tell you, the content was so interesting, and much of it came out of that. We were able to learn something better than the other students who did not participate. And second was my father. I think I have to give full credit to him. He was only an intermediate, but his language is just brutish. Right, his handwriting, the way that he used to, utter certain things. And I think English teachers must tell me, when we used to playfully, we used to pronounce OFTEN as often. The teacher will come and, a big bang on your head. And today the teacher cannot do it, they will go to Human Rights Commission, right? Complaints and you are nowhere. And, often you cannot say. Today the language has come full circle and you have to pronounce it as often. Right? If I say no, it is often, then they will laugh at you. Right? So things are changing, and I have travelled wide. I think the English language, if at all it is alive, it is in South Asia, it is in Asia. If you go to BBC News, many of the words you don't understand what they are saying. They just speak through their nose, and it's very difficult to. But our accent is far, far better. You have to listen to people like Upendra Bakshi, or even that former additional or Deputy Secretary General, who is a member of Parliament, Shashi Tharoor, speaking in English, the language is so wonderful, right? So therefore, we need to look at the way that it has come through, and the courts have also played their own way. These are all exceptions to English language. R, can it be termed as AND? And, right? The Supreme Court in many judgments said R can be understood as and sometimes and can be understood as or, because they see the context of the provision and they try to interpret. In English it is wrong. R means only it is either this or that. And when two students fought how to pronounce either or either, the word is either or either. So they fought with each other. Then they went to the teacher and asked, sir, I am saying it is either, and he says it's either. How to pronounce? The teacher said, either you can use it either or either. Right, these are all things, you make the session, and that's why teachers don't sleep. Don't keep a maroon face as if, something Himalaya has fallen on you. You must be, even whatever difficulties you have to paint a, blissful atmosphere on your face, on your, smiling, and then crack jokes in between, but not spending the entire 1 hour in cracking jokes alone, right? So that you can attract the attention of the students and keep it forward. And then you must have heard something about tautology, right? Justice Krishna Iyer, known for his language, he used to coin his own words, right? And in fact, at one point of time, I was asked to edit his book. And me and another former Chief Justice of Bombay High Court, A.M. Bhattacharjee. So we divided the work. He gave me one chapter. I read the chapter and said, here afterwards, please don't call me. Because, the words which are not even found in dictionary, I have to either speak to him to find out what it is, right? So therefore, language can be very brutish, but sometimes it can be. Justice Krishna Iyer wrote in a famous judgment which everyone should know, Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India, 1980, the judgment was delivered. He used the term, whatever you do, whatever the government does, it must be just, fair and reasonable. 3 words, just, fair and reasonable. He wrote it in the judgment. Even today, the judges in various high courts, the Supreme Court, they simply repeat it. Article 21 is violated, it must be just, fair and reasonable. So when Justice Krishna Iyer came to the campus, every month he used to come and address the students. One student asked, sir, why is just, fair and reasonable? Then he explained, sometimes we use tautology. We use different words to mean the same thing. What is just is fair, and what is fair is reasonable. But without understanding how many judges are repeating that is also something very funny when you read those judgments and appreciate, right? So therefore, some of this also come out of reading a particular newspaper. In those days, we subscribed only to Hindu. It was a very standard newspaper. Today I find that is missing. Even in the Hindu, there are many mistakes as you go through. Initially 1 or 2 days I wrote to the editor, then I stopped writing. Right? There is no point in changing them. So these are all the ways through which we can develop. And when you go to the class, you have to identify the class into 3 groups. If in the first it takes a week or 10 days. Somebody who is smart enough, somebody who is like cat on the wall, and somebody who cannot be saved. Right? They have come there only to make some problem, that's all. Now, if you focus on either of the extremes, you are not a successful teacher. You have to focus only on the people who are like cat on the wall. And by the end of the semester, if you are able to jump to the right side of the wall, 60% of the students are with you, or 65% of the students are with you. And then they may also try to reduce the remaining 20 to 30% who may also start taking some interest in the subsequent years, right? And that management is very, very important, right? I thought I will speak something about English. We had two strange, there is something called as ICCR, which used to send students from different countries. We had two students coming from Mongolia, and they were married and they had kids, and our students were entering the 5-year course at the age of 18. And when he came, I was the chairman of the undergraduate council. We asked, what is your name? He used to have a small dictionary. He will open and he will read something, and my name is so and so. We thought in this manner it is very, very difficult for him to, join, the classes and then function properly and effectively. So what we decided was we handed them over to the Regional Institute of English in Bangalore. And that 1 year, the classes were only in Regional Institute of English. What a transformation! What a transformation! And when they came for the second year and joined the first year 5-year course, they were on par with the third batch. I told you 20% in the first year. In the second year, they moved to the second level. Third year, they, without failing, they cleared every course. And one has become the senior vice president of the Mongolian bank, right? And the other one, Urbayar, I remember his name. He became an MP, a minister, and now he is the president of the Constitutional Court. And with his English language, he is most sought after, right? Because to establish relation with other countries, they say, please you go there, right? So there may be opportunities available, and I will not speak more about English. Thanks to the politicians, vernacular language in schools, diluting English, right? And then ultimately they woke up because they started questioning, if English was taught properly, my children would have also gone to the IT sector, right? So therefore they see phenomenal growth and need for English. And I don't know how many of you know, there are many retired teachers of English teaching students in China, in Taiwan, right? Online classes. They make lots of money. They are not worried about pension. They are not worried about any. So therefore, many opportunities are available. And therefore, whether it is English or any other subject, it is possible for us to be a good teacher, a role model. And I want all of you to shine like somebody, right? When they see you, and when somebody becomes something in their life, maybe a judge, maybe a politician, a chief minister or a prime minister, or even the president of a country, it is not that you take pride in saying he was my student. And that president or a judge should say, so and so was my teacher. And I think that is the place where you recognize the importance of teaching. And therefore, I would request all of you to treat this not as a job, not as an avocation, but as a commitment. And in a commitment, what is the difference? Commitment, you don't expect any reward immediately. You don't expect any reward immediately. But that recognition comes at the fag end of your life, and that is what you relish, right? And there are a number of opportunities for English teachers. I would appreciate even for you. There is a serial called as Mind Your Language. I don't know whether you have seen that serial. It was produced by some, have you seen? I think it is available on YouTube now. I think you should show it to your students in the first year, whether literature student or anybody. Such a hilarious, in those days they used to telecast, we used to go and sit and then watch that. And then finally we got it recorded somewhere in Gulf. My brother was working in Bahrain. So we have the entire thing recorded on a video. Now I have to find where the video player is available, right? But I think it's available on YouTube. Please, these are all wonderful tools. So you are thinking something different and showing something which is not relevant, and then you start teaching. I think that is what you appreciate. And then there are a lot many other issues, opportunities available under FTP, faculty development or induction program or whatever it is. There are a lot many opportunities available for the teachers, not necessarily through UGC alone. There are other opportunities available in the USIS, British Council, DAD, the German Foundation, the Commonwealth and European Union. There are Japanese scholarships, plenty of them. And today you don't have to get a letter from them. If you sit every month once and then look for those opportunities, you will get it. But the problem is you ask for permission, right? Your own HOD will not forward that to the authorities concerned. Right? These are all issues. But I hope if you are able to do some of these things, you can move from the job-oriented focus to what you call as commitment-oriented focus to your teaching. And teaching is not that you have learnt everything. You must go with an open mind, right? A teacher is the first learner. The teacher is the first learner. And if you can learn even from the students, it's a professional course. I tell it in the classroom. When I go to the first year class, I tell them, thanks to your seniors, whatever you are able to do, even telling the Supreme Court judgment as wrong, it is not because of our reading from the books, because books also reproduce the same thing, but the type of questions they used to ask and the type of answers we used to get. And that makes the difference. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, with these few words, I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to share some of my thoughts with you today, and wish you all the very best. Stay here, meaningfully interact with each other, and then carry home the best of the memories, and then continue to interact with everyone. I think some of you must take the lead and create a Google group, not Google group, WhatsApp group, right? If you get a message that you cannot go for a fellowship, you can tell your colleagues, there is an opportunity available here, please try to apply. And I think that once you start doing good to others, good will automatically come to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for enlightening them with various general as well as specific aspects related to the professional development. Hopefully, the participant may get the zeal how a faculty should aim. What are all he spoke for an hour is nothing else, just self-motivation. How teacher can motivate ourselves, how we can visualize and where we have to go. So that is the message is given. You may not believe is round the clock is working. When I asked him, immediately he said, rather than meeting the participants, I have to meet your Vice Chancellor. No? That is aim to reach this campus on this particular day, and he is with us. Even now also I am receiving a call from the Government of Pondicherry when our process completing the task. No? So that because now he is helping the Government of Pondicherry to establish National Law University in Pondicherry. He is the expert committee. He has drafted what are all the required documents for the Government of India. That now they are, the law secretary and others, they are eagerly waiting for him. As and when he completes, he will be with them to help them to start the process. Well, friends, today you are all witnessing our esteemed Vice Chancellor is here. What are all happening in this campus is having this visionary blessings to all the communities, students, teachers, and non-teaching, and above all for the community for this matter. For the 5 years, he has supported us to organize all the scheduled programs with his vision to provide the necessary funding. Fortunately, with his pursuance, and his continuous, constant touch with the University Grants Commission, now we are able to receive the grants. Yesterday we have received 49 lakhs and odd, and last week we have received 45 lakhs. Likewise, this is happening as a vibrant institute. Normally the vice chancellors will come, then after 1 year, 2 years, you may not able to meet them. They may be having a hectic busy on their business. But our vice chancellor is very keen. At any point of time, you can go and meet him. What are all your grievances? Simply within fraction of second, he will address it. In that particular way, he has promoted all the faculties in this campus through CAS and appointed more than 140 faculty in this campus. Again, for the non-teaching staff, those who are struggling for the, temporary status for more than 10 years, 15 years, in one stroke, he has cleared up everything and given them for the permanent position. In such a way, he made, when he joined in this university way back in November 2017, his first signature is for the teachers to implement 7th pay scale to the campus. Now this year, he has announced the NAP 2020 is implemented in this Pondicherry University as well as in the affiliated institutions. With regard to this, we have organized 2 programs. One is for heads of the departments of our university and one is for the college principals. These are all happening with this visionary outlook and helping the academia in general, and not only for the Pondicherry University, but also is the Vice Chancellor additional charge for the Gandhigram Rural University. For more than a year, he is traveling here and there and helping the Gandhigram Rural Institute to survive. In that way, with his hectic schedule, now these Australian delegates are in this campus. We see has to spare time with them. Even then he said, I will come and bless the participants of both the groups. I request our esteemed Vice Chancellor to welcome the today's guest of honor, Professor Vijay Kumar, with a shawl.
Good morning, friends. Professor Vijay Kumar, our very old dear friend and a person who has been of a great assistance to us whenever we required his services and we requested him. He was straight away forthright and helped us. Not in one, on many an occasion he was here with us to assist us. So I'm very happy to see him here. And you would have heard him, he's a remarkable speaker. Once you hear him, I think you get rejuvenated to an extent that you feel like beginning all over, that whatever you have not been able to do it, you will now be able to do it subsequently. And our Dean, Professor Clement, who is a great sketcher, who looks at somebody and then sketches. By the evening he goes back. So that's a natural talent which comes to one if you have some kind of a sincerity in you. Otherwise everybody doesn't get that. And one would get that kind of a talent. I'm saying he's a sketcher, but then you will all have such a talent being developed in yourself, provided you are sincere into something to that level. And our head, Professor Marx, who is leading the English department in a very credible manner, and our Dr. Sirjana, the person who coordinates the HRDC activity, and our sheet anchor of the HRDC, Professor Panchramalingam, who will not leave anything to chance. He will ensure that everything is so very meticulously planned that when anybody comes, would find that things move with computer accuracy. And that's the hallmark of our this section of HRDC. And that is the reason that whenever there is any course, I make sure that I am present despite many commitments that one may have, but then I am always there. Even if I have to be there, if I can be there for 5-7 minutes, I love to be present here. The reason for this is that our HRDC center is, I will not say one of the best centers, the best center in the country, because if you take the analysis of any center I'm challenging anywhere, you would find that the courses get deferred, courses get postponed, courses will have their schedule change invariably, and on many an occasion you will find that they will start with botany and they'll ultimately land up doing botany and zoology together because the reason given is they didn't have enough participants. This happens when there is a lack of planning. But such an event you will never find happening here. Whatever we plan, it goes with an absolute perfect accuracy, and that is what one gets very satisfied about. That well, whatever we were thinking, it is there. And not only that, the other point to be appreciated is that when we plan a course, the resource person and the planning is done so very carefully that every minute of yours is utilized in the best of ways. Now today there is a refresher course in English. You would know that wherever you talk about, one of the complaints everybody has is, sir, in English, very few refresher courses are organized, and people are not able to do the statutory number of courses in due course, and their promotional date would be always approaching nearer, and they always have to ask for an excuse or some kind of a deferment in the date of promotion and all those things. But here, I'm delighted that a refresher course in English has been organized, which I'm sure you will find a great experience while being here. The other is a faculty induction program, which is very dear to my heart. I always tell everybody that one of the major flaws that we have in our system is that somebody joins the university, that's about it, nobody knows who he is. Sometimes when a young fellow joins, they take him as one of the students who has come. So one is not given the kind of respect that one deserves to have it. Therefore, in my opinion, this is very important. One of the best things one can do is whenever somebody joins, he should be introduced to everybody. If not in person, one-to-one, they can put it up on the notice board with his photograph and qualifications, and so that one comes to know that here is a young man who has joined our, young person who has joined our university, and one would be happy to be in the company of other fellows. But as I said, there are universities where one would, for years, not 1 year, 2 years, for years one would remain a stranger. One would not know that what are the department centers, faculty which is there. So that's unfortunate. In defense establishments, I don't know how many of you have been, even if some officer goes for a temporary duty of 7 days, 10 days or 2 weeks, the day you join, it is up on the notice board that so and so is there from here, these are the credentials, and he'll be here till, one will be here till this particular date. And during one of the dinners or any programs that they have, the person is introduced. I have had the pleasure of having that kind of an introduction when I was doing some research work for Indian Navy. I was on board a ship, a huge ship, which is a city in itself, called INS Virat, second aircraft carrier that India had, 7 floors and about 1,500 sailors and about 500 odd officers in that. I was there for 3 weeks. The day I joined, it was there, and I was quite surprised pleasantly. And third day, I was introduced to the whole staff that here is a person who's come from academics. This is what is required in our university systems, that a due regard to be given to you and a newcomer who joins our fraternity. So faculty induction program, in that sense, is very important, wherein one comes to know about what one has to do, what way one has to move, what way one has to know about the university system. Here people would join and they would not know where to give the leave application in, how to ask for the salary certificate or any other thing. People would ask here and there. So in faculty induction program, one talks about the university you are in, you are wherever you come from, what is supposed to be done, what are the kind of conventions you have to follow, what way you have to meet others, what way you have to take your classes, what way you have to submit your attendance. All those things are a part of faculty induction program. But then it is never held. And I have always been telling, and we have done that, we have organized programs like this, wherein I told Professor Panch that we invite people and tell them what are the salient features one has to keep in mind while teaching any subject. I'm not talking about a particular subject. How big should be the letters? You know, one in our profession, unfortunately, one finishes master's degree, and if you're doing very well, you're a topper or somebody, you straight away get a job as an assistant professor in a college, and you start teaching. Nobody tells you that what should be your volume when you teach in the class, what kind of letters, what should be the size of the letters. People will come and start writing on the blackboard as if they are writing a letter on a piece of paper, thinking that he only has to read. The last bencher will not even be able to see whether it is being written in Tamil or English. So that is some of the things which one needs to be conveyed, and how fast you should speak so that people should be able to register. Don't speak at a speed which will have 600 words in a minute, and you only will know what you're talking about. So all these things are to be conveyed, and we have organized courses like this wherein we have conveyed such nitty-gritties regarding teaching to the teachers, which in my opinion is very important. When somebody goes and teaches in a school, you do a degree called B.Ed, where all these things are taken care of. But in college level, unfortunately, at university level, unfortunately, such things are not taken care of. And one improves by attending to such courses. You would have heard about Professor Vijay Kumar's talk. You would have, I'm sure, gained a lot that what way to structure your talk. What should be the beginning, what should be the contents, and what way you should end, so that everybody attends to that in a very attentive manner. And the whole talk looks to be very vibrant, interesting, so that everybody registers whatever has been talked about. So these are the finer points which one should pick up from courses like this. So I am delighted that a faculty induction program has been arranged here, and a refresher course in English. These are, as I said, two very important aspects. The other side of this is that when you attend a course here for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever period, you come from far-flung areas, different areas with different conventions, different traditions, different styles, different languages. So when you sit here and interact with one another, you come to know about the best practices being followed in your own place. So during these interactions, you come to realize that if they could do this, why can't we be doing it? If they could do it this way, why not we? So one learns a lot during these 2-3 weeks of staying together. And this staying together is in a manner where you are not worried about anything. When you are at your home, your spouse may tell you, oh, the electric switch is not working, the geyser is not working, car doesn't have enough petrol. Okay, all those problems will be there, and you will be bogged down with those. You would have got that experience. But here, when you are there, you are away from such problems. You are within your own self. And when you are within your own self, you are interacting with your friends here with a very free mind. Okay, if you are having your writing board, white colored, and you are using blue chalk or white chalk, what way to do it? You will come to know about this. If you are having a smart board, what way you have done it, who has bought it, what way you bought it, all those things you can interact and come to know about the best practices. The best part of this, when somebody gives you full pay leave for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 1 month, I don't know whatever is the duration, it is a full holiday for you, packed. Normally when you go with your family, it is 4 days, 5 days, 4 nights, 5 days package, 2 nights, 3 days package. This is 29 days, 30 days package with fully paid salary and no worries of any kind. In fact, if there is something not to your liking, you can always tell Professor Panch, sir, this is what you should improve upon, and we do it, let me tell you. We take it in a very supporting way. Whatever shortcomings are there, we take it in a supporting way and we try to improve the next time. And that is one of the reasons that I come here to meet everybody. And towards when you go for valedictory function, by that time we'll know your experiences. And wherever there is any shortcoming, we try to improve in that. This is what gives our HRD center the real standing in the country, where everybody appreciates a lot. Apart from that, Pondicherry is a place which is very rejuvenating place, very spiritual place, very positive looking place. I repeatedly tell people that when you enter the arena of Pondicherry, some kind of a electric energy gets into your mind and you feel like going on and on. You don't feel tired, you don't feel exhausted, you don't get cowed down by the worries which you have in your families. It is the spiritualism of this land that gives you right sort of positive energy to do your best in your subjects or whatever area you are in. So this is another wonderful experience you will be having here. When you have time, go around and see the positive side of this city. Then, apart from this, finally, when you are here, you carry very positive, good memories of your interactions with your friend. These friendship which you will develop here is different from what you would have developed in your school days or college days. This is at a time when you are all independently settled in your professions, and this interaction that you develop here goes a long way in developing your subject further. What is on in the subject you do not know. Unfortunately, if somebody is in a university, you can always carry on with the latest research and whatever. But if you are in a far-flung area, it is just a matter of luck. You are here, you are there, and I am here. It could have been the other way around also. Now, if you are here and you listen to the experts, you will get an idea about what is the latest which is being done in your subject. And these are the areas where I can very conveniently pick up and start my research work in. Even if you have not done anything now, these courses would give you an idea about how best to develop in your subject further. So these are some of the positive aspects of such courses. And I wish you a very happy stay here, very happy interaction. And I can assure you, which I said in the beginning, that we plan our courses very, very meticulously, invite real experts, so that all of you can be benefited to the best of extent, so that when you get back, you have all the positive feelings. Thank you very much for joining us. I wish you a very happy stay, and God bless all of us.